Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be out you.
Yo, back in this bitch niche for Go Deep episode 165. Today I got my homeboy Alexander Khan in his bitch. We had a nice little talk. We talked about a few things. Mainly the same situation that's been going on lately we've been talking about. But I think we've kind of uncovered a little bit more things, or after this conversation I kind of thought a little bit more about it, and I see that this could very well be like some gang stalking shit that we're uncovering. If it is, we really need to focus on that, because that is some fucking tragic shit. Gang stalking can lead people to suicide, all kind of crazy shit, as you've seen in the intro. So it's usually done by faceless people, as you've seen in the intro, and that might be what we're witnessing at the moment. Maybe we'll explore it further. I don't know, but hopefully this podcast opens some people's eyes to some subjects that might be occurring. Not saying it's a fact. I'm saying these are might be going on, but it sounds like it is going on. All right, let's get into some music first, and then we're gonna get right into the podcast. Go Deep been going hard as fuck lately, and I appreciate all the comments and all that shit coming back. Just keep subscribing, guys. Keep subscribing to the channel, and we'll keep pushing out content. That's what we do. Listen to some music. Tell your mom to stop being a bell end, and tell your girlfriend to listen to Go Deep. Yeah, bitch.
Niggas got me paranoid, Mac. I be seeing shit. Who that is? That ain't even there. The shots rang out. I went to the closet to get that thing out. Heavily on, my intention was to blow the next brain out. I had the cock before I got to the door. Who the, why the, and what the fuck they doing this for? Them niggas spook me. I'm either tripping or they trying to shoot me. I close my eyes and I let the bullets fly loosely. And I loaded, the front door exploded. The barrel started burning my hand and I couldn't hold it. Still I reloaded and get another round burst. It seems like this whole incident was pre-rehearsed. The date in front of me had read 12/31st. What I thought was gunshots was only loud fireworks. The screams got louder, the crowd got bigger. Somebody screamed, oh, I think you killed that nigga. I dropped the trigger, my heart beat, and my knees got excessively weak. Look, I can feel this shit, yet I'm still hoping I'm asleep. I seen this bag full of holes and his blood was fresh. I could smell death creeping through his innocent flesh. I flipped him over in fear of what I might soon discover. The tears fell. Oh fuck, this was my brother. They got me know it. 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 But I ain't paranoid. They got me know it. 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 But I ain't paranoid. On Cliffview, I took a look through the review. It was some niggas that my homie Fear knew, but I wasn't cool with them. Matter of fact, I didn't fool with them. I speeded up. They either following Mac or they just weeded. But I took a left and they followed. I told my brother get the hollows. These niggas probably got a problem. I'm way across town, some unknown ground. Paranoid, me and my dog. We ducking through the southern fog, spooked out. Them niggas 6 deep in the Land Rover Jeep. They fucking up my weekend. I started cussing like a Puerto Rican. I'm headed back to the NO, coming from BR. I just did me a show. Them niggas know I probably got the dough, so they figure they could just spank me and dump me off in that yo, bitches you crazy. I stepped on the gas, but they crept on that ass. This shit is happening fast. My brother blast at the clouds through the sunroof. An innocent bird drop, but that was just to let these niggas know we had the Glock, but they didn't stop. I seen the Superdome, I'm almost home. Told my brother get the cell phone, they call my niggas. We being chased, bodies up for millions. They probably trying to kill us, I can't shake them. I might just have to break them. They told me not to sweat it, cause they was ready to set it. If you out gone in that water, then we got them things to wet it. So I felt relieved as I turned on General Taylor. I saw my niggas parked by the stove in the Black and Taylor. So I parked too, and then I jumped out. I opened up the trunk and I got the funk out. And I told them niggas jump out. They opened up the door slowly, raised their hands, say they follow me cause they was Mac #1 fans. And all they wanted was some autographs. I dropped the gat and saw the laugh. Look like you motherfuckers went to start prepared. You got a nigga paranoid and them slipping and them tripping and them dipping and them fuck. They got me know it. 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 But I ain't paranoid. They got me know it. 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 But I ain't paranoid. They got me know it. 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 But I ain't paranoid. They got me know it. They got me know it. They got me know it, they got me know it, but I ain't paranoid.
Deep episode 64, 164. I was just listening.
Yeah, Miguel went in, huh?
Yeah. And I was also jamming out to It's Alive. Like,
Oh.
yeah, so
Oh.
I was listening to It's Alive and jamming out to it.
Do that again.
So hold on.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I was doing like, on top of your, music, I was like,
Oh, shit. Oh,
yeah, so I was just having fun. Hold on, let me just get ready for this. Hold on, let me just put the guitar away and everything. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything that you and Miguel were talking about, shit, I didn't know all this shit was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, nobody did. Not many people did. Only a few people did, and that's why we're getting some people right now saying, "Damn, what the fuck?" Because it is my bad, dog. It's hard to believe that all that shit was going on, you know. But we were, for the most part, dog, we were trying to really, really keep quiet because, kind of like those guys are friends with Zach, so it was like, damn, do we want to blow up the spot, or we just want to wait and see what they do naturally? So for months we waited, dog. For months we waited, and it didn't do shit but keep getting worse, you know.
Right, man. I was just like I'm at like 1 hour 9:30 and everything, and you were just talking about how they were talking shit to you, and I was like, these fuckers are crazy.
Yeah, no, they did. They were talking shit behind my back. Just people were telling me, you know, they were. I was still being quiet though around that time, but they were still following me, so I didn't think it was time to say anything, because it was kind of weird that I would see people say "fuck you," but still be following me and liking my shit. So I didn't say anything.
Right.
I just kept it quiet. And
right.
But when they all unfollowed me, that was kind of showing me that it was true, that they were saying "fuck you." So whatever. But the thing about it is, we're not really causing no beef, because the beef shit already happened. All we're doing is talking about what we experience, and that should be easy. That should be. Nobody should look at that as a bad thing, because first, this is a podcast. Second, all of the people on my podcast, they know about the situation, kinda. So we should be able to talk about it. I don't care what nobody say. The beef, the war, all of that shit is already over. We're talking about now. We're talking about now what happened and what we experienced in it, you know?
So you're telling me, so if I understand you correctly, so you're telling me that Vinaldo, Fiona, Ramesh, and the TPZ and everybody is cool now?
No.
Okay.
But they ain't fighting.
Okay. At least publicly, they're not fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But their homies are at each other's throats. Even today, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
No, it's
bullshit.
It's more like not their homies, because Fiona left, Ramesh left, so their only homies involved in that was Koj, me, Will, people like that.
Right.
So if you notice, for the past few months, we haven't said anything on that shit. You know, we haven't spoke on that.
Yeah, you were doing your Watchmen series, and I was commenting with you. Yeah, I know.
Right. But so the beef really is more. It was more like bubbling underground. But so you get like Nerd Queens and TPZ. They'll still go out and they'll say little slick shit, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Nope, for the most part, like 90% of people don't really know what they're talking about. But the 10% of the people that know, they just dissed you. You know, they just sneak dissed you. But the thing about it is, why? Like why are you still sneak dissing? Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, y'all, the account has come back, so we should all be happy that the account is back.
Right.
They got their beer photos with Zach. They should be happy about that. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
so for the most part, it's like everybody should really be happy. So why are you still dissing like that? So what you're doing is you remember those little set of friends I told you about, like Koj or Will, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
Brother
like
Crow J and everyone.
right,
Yeah.
just people that you know are cool with Ramesh or cool with Ronaldo, cool with Fiona. Those people take
Yeah.
those little shots personally, and they go back
Mm-hmm.
and they go back and they're like, God damn, why are they still doing this shit? Why they? So they go back in these chat rooms and they talk about it, but you can see it hurt them or it affected them, right?
Right.
So check this out. If the beef was over in like December and January, why are you still trying to
Mm-hmm.
affect these guys like that? You know, why are you still trying to
Mm-hmm.
poke at these guys like that? So that's why 159
Right.
happened. 159, did you see how many people was on that shit? I didn't invite them. They just wanted to come and say some shit.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they all wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah,
share
yeah.
their thoughts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You never hear Andy talking shit about nobody, but
Mm-hmm.
he came and he had to say his piece. It wasn't like he was talking shit, but this is something that we actually all are witnessing. Just people really don't
Mm-hmm.
know. From the outside, you don't really know what's going on. But
Yeah.
from the inside, a lot of people are witnessing traumatic abuse, cyberbullying, um, just all kind of shit like that. You know, like gang stalking. They will go on your fucking Facebook page, your Instagram page. They will do all this type of shit, and they will start just fucking commenting on everything like negatively. You know what I'm saying? So to the point where you have to block them. But then they got like your cell phone
Burner
number,
accounts.
burner accounts, your cell phone numbers, all kind of shit. So they can fucking text you in the morning as they've been doing with Ronaldo, you know? And then they go to burner accounts and go around to people like Miguel, who's not even involved in this shit. So then they go to
Right.
Miguel and they try to lie to Miguel and tell Miguel,
Mm.
little sneaky shit to make him hate other people. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you're in a campaign, you're preaching hate to people behind the scenes. So this is nothing but sneaky tactics. This is nothing but hate.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing but all the shit that the anti-life equation really is what is actually going on. But nobody knows that because when we do the Watchman button shit, we all put the smile on our face and act like everything is
I
good.
still have that on. Yeah.
Right. When we do the fucking like Watchmen series about aliens, we're all talking about shit that doesn't have anything to do with beef or nothing like that. But then you still get these guys throwing their little sneak digs, and now you got people after 159. You got a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people coming out to me and saying, "Yo, I've witnessed that. I've been in that." Miguel's not the only one. He's just one of the guys that said he wants to speak on it. But there's a lot of people that said telling me the same thing. So it's like this whole time, bro. This whole time we had sneaky people in the background fucking us up. And we knew it, except we'd always thought it was like the 40 Club. You know what I'm saying? We always thought it was like Dave and his burner accounts and this, that, or other.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know it was that close. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're talking about now from 159 on till today is just us talking about what we experienced in a crazy fucking Snyder Cut movement battle. This is all our
Mm-hmm.
experiences. If people are mad at our
Mm-hmm.
experiences, they should be mad at the people who forced us to experience this shit. If they're not, then
Right.
I don't have a moment to talk to them. Fuck them, you know?
This is genuinely disheartening
Yeah,
for me personally because I wasn't aware.
right.
And I always imagined like us, the people in the movement, everyone, and I'm not excluding anyone. I always considered us individually and as a group who support Zack Snyder and the movement,
Right.
I always thought we were in unison in the sense that, something about BVS touched us,
Right.
right? It hit a chord within
Right.
us. It didn't hit a chord with lots of other people,
Right.
neutral people and other people, but it affected us in
Mhm.
some way or another. It hit us and it woke some of us up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always found this camaraderie with everyone. Okay, regardless of our different ethnicities and political point of views and everything, we had a common thing, and which was Zack Snyder and the Snyder Cut.
Right.
And I always, thought that okay, because we all had, since it clicked with all of us, maybe we had similar experiences in life.
Right.
Maybe not the same, but similar, that
Right.
united us in that we found a common thread,
Right.
which was the Snyder Cut and Zack Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
So, I always felt like, okay, I found my people, it's like people I can relate to, people I can talk to, people I can even debate with, have argument with, but it was all,
Right. Right.
in mutual respect. So I was so happy to be, if you remember, part of the first banner, that chat that opened up on Twitter. We were all there. You were there. I was there.
Right.
Even Eric was there. Everyone was there. We were all talking. Charlie was there organizing stuff. Even the Nerd Queens were there. We were all working together. We were laughing. We were making fun of the bloggers. It was such a good time. And then, things got together and everybody was getting along. And then I remember Eric created like a situation where he was going off on everyone and you called him out. He even did your show and I watched it.
Eric did my show?
And wasn't it Eric? Wasn't he on, was he on your show or somebody else's
No,
show?
he was on Dave's or somebody's show.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Ping Pong Flicks even. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
Anyways, regardless. So you handled that.
Right.
Then you went after Dave after he talked a lot of shit. That was fun to watch. And everything. So we got together. We moved on. Things were going great. I mean, we got everybody, even the Justice League members themselves, to tweet out. That was amazing.
Right.
And Zack Snyder came back to Twitter. And
Right.
I got emotional. I uploaded all the videos on Vero. I was crying out of happiness.
Right.
Everything.
Right. That's dope.
And then suddenly it's like, I'm doing my thing. I do my part. I watch Go Deep. I share it. I've told you before that sometimes Chris Wong pisses me off with his over positivity towards every DC.
Right.
Because I like to keep it to a standard. I want good directors. I want artistic integrity to translate DC as the standard has been set with Man of Steel, BVS, and the first Wonder Woman. I don't want corny jokes. I don't want kid-friendly, family-friendly bullshit.
Right.
Anyways, so everything was going together, and me. You told me that I ran with a crazy group. Zod Writer was in it. Like we were boycotting, Warner Brothers. We still do. We still do.
No.
Guilty as charged.
I want to
Guilty
say,
as charged.
No, I want to say that. I want to speak on that too, because even in this, like you were saying with me and Dave and me and whoever, but me and you had some issues too with that anarchy shit, but we kept it civil,
No, we talked.
Right.
I told you my point of view. You
Right.
told me your point of view.
Right.
I understood your point of view.
Right.
You also understood my point of view,
Right.
my anger towards Warner Brothers, and
Right.
we settled it. And you
And
told
we
me to
and
listen,
that-
dog. You told me listen, dog. I understand, but keep it within us.
Right.
Don't make it so the bloggers can abuse it. So I
Right.
was like, okay, yeah, he's right. I don't want to give ammunition to these assholes with these shields who work for MCU and all these fuckers, even Jeff Johns even. I don't want to give them ammunition to use against us.
No.
So I really, if you see my tweets, and I haven't deleted anything except for one tweet that I was really pissed off with Matt Reeves, which, Parademon, one of the Parademons called me out. So I deleted that, and I regret, that's the only tweet I regret.
Right.
Other than that, if you see my timeline, I changed my tone. I keep it very professional.
Right.
It's like we're a marketing team for Zach.
Right.
So we represent the movement.
Right.
And of course, at times, my only gripe with the people within the movement, who everyone I love and respect, is that the people who go and watch the current DCU movies. But to each his own. So regardless, because the main fact is we want Zack Snyder back. We want to see his 214, which I hope he's gonna, with additional shots, make it over, 220 20 hours or something. I don't care. I just want to watch it. But right now, you're right. You're so right. We're at so low. We can't get a single event trending. Today was the Mother Box Day event, and I'm like, where are my Spartans at? What the hell's going on?
Right.
And everything. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Fiona is missing. Ramesh is gone. And I'm like, what the I mean, I had no idea.
Right.
Because, everyone has their life. You're my go-to guy for, lots of stuff. I follow Will. Brother Koj is there, always doing his WWE stuff, representing. It's fun to watch.
Right.
So, yeah, even with Garza and the 40 Club, you really woke me up to that shit. So I really unfollowed Garza and everybody else. I'm like, I don't want to be part of that, negativity. I want the positivity. I want the Snyder Cut. That's all I want. I haven't gone back to the cinemas since the Justice League and The Last Jedi.
Right.
So, and I miss my DC.
Right.
Seeing Ben Affleck come back, everything, Mr. West, it's all emotional. It's so emotional.
Right.
It's so subjective. You try to be objective and be professional, but at times people just trigger you.
Right. Correct.
Regardless, anyways, and then, this whole, suddenly one day I see this whole Dr. Chris, which was Vinaldo.
Right.
And everybody just having an argument. And I'm like, listen, hold on. I get you guys are having a beef with each other for whatever reason. I frankly don't care. Because I never cared who was running the RTSC account.
Right.
It was about us getting the movie.
Right.
It was about getting Zach back.
Right.
But you're right. Now everybody wants to be Judas.
Right.
How Judas was like, everybody wants to be, Jesus's homies.
Right.
Like, it's my book. I was closest to Jesus, like Eddie Griffin said. All of the, Jesus' followers, they're like, after he was gone, it's like, yo, he was my homie more than the other guys.
Right.
So that's the situation that's going on. I even made a video in my own channel, which I put up on YouTube and on Twitter. I was just talking to everyone because I know, I don't know a lot of people personally, but some of them, I've worked with and I've talked with them and I've seen their posts. The Nerd Queens aren't bad people. They were very nice.
Right.
And, they did a lot for the movement.
Right.
So even Mick D, even Ben W, and everyone, even Justin Knott, like most of the people. Abdul is someone I never knew personally, but he was always active. He used to go really hard on the bloggers. His language was pretty, crude, but still, he was part of the movement.
Right.
But then to wake up to this one day, it was like within a week, like a weekend, everything just changed.
Right.
Everyone is divided. Nobody wants to do anything. And it all started, you're right, it all started with that football campaign.
Right.
They had.
Right, definitely.
And I contributed. And I was like, that's a good thing. Regardless of what it is, regardless of anything, it's marketing. The whole world saw that, fans are putting up the banners that Warner Brothers themselves can't do.
Right.
So you after watching, your Go Deep episode 64, I'm so disappointed.
Right.
In all honesty, I'm just disappointed because you're right. They're acting like children.
Right. It should have.
How can we, at this age, after everything we have gone through, how we have come together? First, we were the Snyder Spartans. Then the girls, like Truth, Love, and Faith, Meg, and a few other girls, including the Nerd Queens, they made the Snyder's Amazons, which was all nice.
Right.
And the TPZ were always there. And if I remember from the very beginning, we all met up.
Right.
On Vero.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
And then the whole Snyder Spartan movement started. We were starting calling ourselves the Spartans.
Right.
Even the beginning of your earlier videos, you had that sentence like, Spartans, what is your profession? I used to go to the comments and write, how. That's crazy.
Right.
So
So
now, you're right, we're at the lowest we have ever been.
Right.
And these assholes like Jody's Corner and a few other people, and I know for a fact these people were paid off because they're just latching onto it and dividing us further.
Right.
Fatal J is a good dude. Subjective Reviews is a good dude. And I don't know why, they're even giving this, piece of garbage an opportunity to infiltrate the movement and create such, debate and such, differences amongst the people.
Right.
That's why I keep on tweeting, ignore Jody's Corner, because any view is like money.
Right.
For every view that idiot gets, he's making money.
Correct.
So, and some people who are being paid to negate your, aim or your ambition or your movement will never, no matter how much you try, will even acknowledge your point of view.
Right.
And Jody's Corner and his group and the 40 Club, if you knew what I knew, Yeah, right. Okay. If you knew what I knew, and even that drunk Dave, the drunk ass, all of them. And like I said, it's just like I don't know. I still want to watch the Snyder Cut. That's the only thing that matters to me.
Right.
And I still care for everyone in the movement because we all love Zack.
Right.
That's a fact.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, no matter how much video conferences you do, you're not his friend.
Right.
Just because you were able to, like, I'm all the way across the ocean in Bangladesh, right? So if I wanted to go to SnyderCon, I had to apply for a visa, spend a lot of money on a ticket, and do a 24-hour flight. And then if I had time, I'd be able to go visit the SnyderCon.
Right.
But if I was in America, I'd be there. Bloody
Right.
hell, I'd sell a kidney and go visit Zack Snyder. I'm that much of a loony doony fan. So just because these guys made it to the SnyderCon and they hung out with Zack, they think, Zack's our homie.
Right.
But he's not.
Right.
He's a director. And, it's good for you that you're in touch with him.
Right.
It's good for you can hang out with him. As a fan, that is such an amazing thing.
Right. Right.
So keep at that. But that does not mean you represent him personally.
Right. Correct.
It's just stupid thinking.
Right.
Mr. West, you and I have known each other for a long time, and we talk, we debate, we have fun. When you do those live chats,
Right.
The ones that I am available to see, I watch, we
Right.
talk, we have fun, and we know each other. We're good
Right.
acquaintances.
Right.
But I can't go around on Twitter and saying, "Hey, yo, I'm Mr. Goldie's, number one homie. I'm Goldie's number one homie." I can't do that. That does not make sense.
Right.
Correct. So
correct. No,
it's so disheartening. It's very disheartening.
It's done for more than that. It's done not to say I'm Zack Snyder's number one fan, but it's like so it's really, 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 really cool to know Zack Snyder these days, right? Because he's like he's like the coolest guy on the internet. He has the biggest fandom. Everyone wants to see his movies. Hollywood is huge. Zack Snyder has, Justice League, So it's a big deal to be in front of Zack Snyder right now and to be be acquainted with Zack Snyder. So that big deal gets you a lot of clout online in your regular life or whatever. And if everything is all good, it doesn't matter, like say for instance, November 17th, we're all good. Everybody's in love. After that, the Wendy's, the Subway, all of that shit going, everything rolling.
The industry woke the F up.
Right. If you want to put out a picture of Zack Snyder, you and Zack Snyder right there, that looks perfect. That looks all good because it's like
beautiful.
It's like Zack Snyder is, cheersing to or toasting to the success that the movement just did, like just then, right? But then when it starts deteriorating and you're a big part of that, you're really involved. Even if Ronaldo had some of his ways too, even if Ronaldo had some bad traits about him or whatever. But it kind of looks like from a lot of people's point of view, Ronaldo was getting bullied and Ronaldo was getting harassed and Ronaldo was getting basically like usurped. Like someone wanted to take what he made and use it for and use it for themselves, right? And that's that. So that's the fucked up part about it. It was like a coup or insurrection or something like that. So then when you know that, and this is still in January, right? This is like right after November. This is December, January, whatever. When
the peak of our movement, yeah.
Right. So now, when the peak of the movement has the most potential Zack crack ever, 1 million tweets, the industry waking up.
Somebody wants to hijack it.
Correct. So that's what happened. And nobody can say that's not what happened. That is the 100% truth of what happened. And we're just talking about our experiences of that,
Yeah, and it seems like, sorry to interrupt, but it seems like more than the rest of the TPZ, Abdul is the only one who is inciting the whole incident. It's like, I'm not taking any sides because, Abdul is a huge fan. If you go to his Facebook page, you can see that he bloody hell made a whole bat cave.
Right.
with a 6 foot Batman from BVS figure, and I'm
Right.
jealous, but hey, I'm happy for him.
Right.
So
It was dope.
yeah, so I keep on going to Twitter and I keep telling people that listen, I don't care. I don't care. I just want the movie. I want the movie. I wanted how Zach wants to give it to us. I don't care who was harassing who, because I'm here for the movement.
Right.
Okay? I'm here for the movement. So enough of whatever is going on. If you want to hash it out, do it. Be a group, be an adult.
Right.
You know, be an adult, because the movement is suffering. It is suffering. We are like, the tweets have gone down so low. Like a few days ago, there was an argument going on, like, yeah, you should use the release the Snyder cut instead of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
And I'm like, why can't you use both? What the
Right.
hell is wrong with using both?
Right.
Because Zack himself said that's the name of my movie, Zack
Right.
Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
So all these things, and I really wish, and and I'll push this agenda going forward, that Dr. Chris, aka Vinaldo, and Abdul need to sort this out however they can, and I don't care. Get them inside a ring and let them beat the living shit out of each other. I do not care, because it is keeping me from my movie.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
It's harming the movement. They went after Will a few days ago.
Yep.
Everything. Every chance people are getting, whether it's from Vinaldo's side or Chris's side, anyone who's neutral and anybody who comes to like, all right, whatever's going on, guys, sort it out. They're like, no, we will not sort it out because this guy's being an asshole, and the other side is saying the same thing. So, what's the end result? Like, what's the end result? This is like, what are you getting from the Civil War? Nothing.
Right.
You're pushing us back.
Correct. And that's why we spoke up, because I tried to sort this out in, what was it, like months ago. I don't even remember the months, and we spent a lot of time trying to sort this out, because we were so, in my opinion, we were so good in November. It was perfect. Now we got the industry woke up, like you said, with all these restaurants tweeting about us. It was so perfect. So sort it out, guys. But that's why, see, Alexander, I think it's bigger, man. I think it's bigger than this. I think it's bigger to be sorted out or whatever. I think Zack Snyder always had enemies of his work, which maybe his fandom will always have enemies of their promotion of his work, So I think I'm looking for the best way to say this.
I think people were bought off. I think people were offered something because I don't know whether you know, but Dingus Bringus, that channel, Dingus Bringus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a few days ago, 2 days ago, I think, 2 or 3 days ago, he came out with a video where he literally said he's done with the movement. And I called him out on the comments. And I'm like, dude, you're talking like, you're saying we should look forward. They're going to reboot Superman, reboot Batman and all that stuff, and reboot JL. And I'm like, dude, you're talking like as if you have given up. Have you? And then Fatal J showed up and liked my comment, and he replied that, yeah, Dingus has given up. And I'm like, interesting. Because Dingus Bringus, even though I didn't follow him that much, he used to be very pro-movement,
Right.
So I think that something happened, especially after that Jim Lee was asked to release the Snyder Cut question. Remember that video?
Right.
That Jim Lee was asked, like, what about the release the Snyder Cut?
Right.
And people were taking that very, passively, because Zack Snyder liked Jim Lee joining Vero, and Jim Lee worked with Zack on, Man of Steel and BVS. But as I saw that video, it kind of hit me when Jim Lee, in a very, diplomatic way, he said to the rest of the people in attendance that we have to allow the Snyder Cut fans into the DC fandom. And that kind of hit a chord in me. I'm like, what do you mean? We are DC fans.
Right.
We came to watch Man of Steel and BVS as DC fans.
Right.
Zack Snyder was the cherry on top.
Right.
So that kind of hit me like, it's like a snide remark.
Right.
And I didn't say anything because I don't want to start anything.
Right.
I don't want to start any negativity. But then, after the Patty Jenkins recent interview came out, and she said that she was working with Jeff Johns closely, that's when it, to me personally, like if I put two and two together in my head and the way I see it, like after Jim Lee was asked the release the Snyder Cut question, things changed.
Right.
WB right now, I mean, Will said a few days ago that he knew someone and he had worked with Warner Brothers, and he said that the cut is coming, and I believe in my heart, I need to believe that it's coming, otherwise I might go crazy.
Right.
And I think I'm already halfway there, but still, I'm keeping my sanity as much as I can, thanks to Go Deep and everybody else, from Koj and everybody else. But I think that, Jeff Johns, Toby Emmerich, and Sarnoff, no offense, we kissed their ass. We kissed everyone's ass. That please, Anne, Hope, Sarnoff, and everything.
Right.
And it's like they're still ignoring us.
Right.
They know how, we're really, our presence is felt.
Right.
And their DC movies, which are so watered down.
Right.
And so full of, I see no difference in Birds of Prey and the new Charlie's Angels.
Right.
Whereas I was a huge fan of the original Charlie's Angels movies when they came out.
Right.
With Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz and
right.
Forgot her name, but yeah, she was there.
Yeah, I remember.
So this watered down DC, this Walter Hamada's new low budget return and moving on to the stream wars, it's like, they're doing everything that they can to ignore us silently and just push ahead. That maybe they'll give up. Maybe they'll give up. And somehow I think they have infiltrated the movement. They have Garza on the payroll. They have the 40 Club on the payroll. And I think that because I was listening to your Go Deep episode 164 just now, and you said that they got together with the 40 Club.
Yeah,
and they're
definitely.
tweeting and working with Garza.
Yes.
And they also put up that picture with Zack Snyder.
Right.
People were like saying, oh my God, I want to be in that chat. I want to be in that chat. And I'm like, I don't want to be in that chat. I want to know what he said. When's the movie coming out?
Right.
When's the reshoots happening?
Right.
I could not care who Zach is hanging out with because I can't go see him.
Right.
So if I can't go see him, I'm not bothered.
Right. Right.
So, our movement has been infiltrated. If Fiona is missing, which I didn't know, because, I knew she was in China, and China has a lot of restrictions on people coming online and everything.
Right.
So she has to use a VPN or something to use Twitter in our side of the world. So I understand that she can't do so much of social activity. She started her own channel and then she just disappeared.
Right.
But then she came back on November.
Right.
She tweeted, release the Snyder Cut. She came back and you welcomed her. Everybody welcomed her. We sent her love. The welcome back, Queen Fiona and everything. And, right now, after listening to you guys, I have my suspicion that Warner Brothers has completely, Jeff Johns and his cronies with Jodie's Corner and everything, Stephen Colbert, all those people who are involved, they are tearing us apart from the inside. And the TPZ, especially Abdul, is using them for his own means because he wants to hijack the movement. Maybe. Right. I'm not sure, but it seems like it.
Right.
It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Correct.
That's the logic.
Correct. That's 100% what it is.
Yeah, so, shit. I mean, I don't know, Mr. West. To me, the solution is come to Go Deep. You have a beef, come to Go Deep, sort it out, be a man, move on. But, because, even the Nerd Queens were in your show, and I really used to like the Nerd Queens.
Right.
I still do. I have nothing against them.
Right. Right.
But, it's just so disappointing because most of those people who were in that group chat with Zoom with Zack Snyder, a majority of them are cool people. You know them, right?
Yeah. I agree. Majority of them are.
Yeah,
cool. I still
can't believe what is making them defend Abdul, and he's not defending himself.
Correct.
I really hate playing the victim.
Right.
I really hate playing the victim because I was raised because the world is harsh, and you just need to go with it.
Right.
Take the punches, get back up, keep moving forward.
Correct.
So I don't, it's really petty that Vinaldo and Abdul, you hacked me, I hacked you, Mr. John Doe hacked me. And who cares? Unless you have some, pedophile, porn or something that you're worried about. So he hacked your account. What's the big deal? It's not like, you're doing business that he has taken, like, documents out, and he has leaked it to your, like,
Right.
something like that,
And
corporate espionage. It's nothing like that.
it's all
It's just
bullshit.
little kids,
Right.
I hacked your account, ha ha ha. It's like what people used to do in the early 2000s,
Right.
when Hotmail was the big deal, or
Right.
High Five was the big deal. This is so ridiculous.
Right.
So, I just want the movement to get over this. And I believe the people from within TPZ and the Vinaldo and everybody are mature enough to come together and work this thing out. And personally, Abdul, if you're listening, or anybody in the TPZ listens to this, nothing personal against Abdul. I have respect for everyone. But Abdul, you're being a bitch. If you're not gonna come to go deep along with Vinaldo, you both are acting like bitches.
Ooh.
And just sort it out, because
Ooh.
you want Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? And it's not about, Zack's not going to give you a backstage pass to go see the movie before everybody else, if that's what you're thinking. Like, people could be thinking like this, Mr. West, that fuck everybody else, I just want to see it. So maybe if I get close to Zack, maybe in the next SnyderCon I can go see it myself.
Right. Yeah, but no,
Because they know, because they're working with Warner Brothers, maybe, and Warner Brothers has told them that we are not going to release the movie. So if you guys break up the movement, we'll allow you to go watch it at Zach's house. Maybe something like that. I don't know. It could be a behind the scenes deal. I don't know.
That sounds. I mean, that sounds interesting. I don't. It's something deep, man. Because all right, even look at this. Look at this. That Watchmen thing we did the other day with the Watchmen buttons, and then we were
Yeah,
trying.
Liz Wonder showed up, man. I have a crush on her,
Right.
but
We
she
were
showed up.
trying to get everyone united. Liz Wonder even showed up. She put it on. It was everybody was having fun. We were talking about, I was texting. I even tweeted you and I said, "Yo, this is why I like Khan." Blah blah blah. I was doing
Yeah,
that. I was doing that to everyone. But see, the thing is, then the next day you look at it, and there was a HBO. Remember that HBO Max thing going on at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
HBO Max talking about their everything that they're going to release and all that, right?
Right. So then when you check Chris Wong's show, just to see if anybody talks about, because Chris Wong is pretty much the news of the movement. He doesn't get into really beef or anything like that.
Yeah. Sometimes he's annoying, but yeah.
Right.
He's a nice guy.
Right.
He just cares about DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. But then you see, there was no talk about the movement. It was there was no talk about the Watchmen button thing. It was kind of like,
as if it wasn't happening. Like,
right.
People weren't getting together, but
right.
usually when we do get together, everybody's aware.
Right, correct. So why omit that? Because those guys who did the Watchmen buttons were friends with Vinaldo. So it's really deep. It's like, no matter if those guys are, Watchmen is a Zack Snyder movie too, So no matter if those guys just went 50,000 deep and promoted Zack Snyder, we will not help you, and actually we're going to try to omit you out of the record books because of your friendships with the guy who we bullied. This is what I'm talking about. It's huge, man. It's deeper than just coming on Go Deep and talking about it. This has been like,
that is so petty.
Right.
That is so petty.
Right. It's been a huge smear campaign to remove a powerful side of the movement because we need all of the power here, So if this other side of the movement, like the guys from England, the guys, Vinaldo, Will, even Hamad, all of these people, if these guys get too powerful with this soccer game shit, and Zack Snyder just posted it, these guys can soon be bigger than TPZ. Because if Zack Snyder gives one of those guys a connection, now they can really use their great ideas like they've used in New York Times Square, like they use with the soccer game, like they, constantly, or Ramesh with the San Diego Comic-Con and Will and everybody else. And
everything.
Right. Those guys have a lot of great ideas, and on top of that, they have a connection with Vinaldo, who had an account with 20,000 followers. So now you have these boys with great ideas and a huge following. All they needed was a connection with Zach. So if they had a connection with Zach, maybe Zach can say, "Yo, I'll co-sign one of your events." I'll because he kind of co-signed it when he shared that soccer game. But like say for instance, Will, Hamad, Jeff, Vinaldo, Fiona, or just that crew, whatever. Say that crew gets a like a Zoom chat with Zach, right? And it just looks like, okay, now this crew is on the way. Everybody's been waiting on this crew because this crew does wonderful shit like Subway, Times Square, soccer game, all of this shit. Everybody hopes this crew gets to succeed because when they succeed, the movement flourishes immensely, right? So
Right.
everyone in the movement that's really working behind the scenes, they know that. All right, TPZ might be like the Chicago Bulls or whatever, but Vinaldo's crew is like the Lakers with Kobe coming up. You know what I'm saying? They're
Black
like
Mamba in the house.
Right. They're like Black Mamba. And they got Hamad who can pretty much afford anything. And whatever idea they come up with, they can do it, right? So now the Chicago Bulls see the Lakers and they're like, oh, fuck. We've worked so hard to get this championship or whatever. We worked so hard to get the Zach Crack recognition. We can't have the Lakers. We can't have the Lakers taking it. But they never thought that it's enough for everybody. It's enough Zach Crack for everybody. What they thought was we need all the Zach Crack to ourselves. So there was a campaign behind the scenes drawn up to discredit everyone from the Lakers team and remove the support from everyone on the Lakers team only because they were the shining star. They are the guys up next. You know what I'm saying? These guys have brilliant ideas, and I didn't know that because, as you know, when we first met, we were in Vero chat with the Spartans and TPZ, right? So I didn't know the outside world of Hamad and Will and Vinaldo and all of these people. So I didn't know. So Rena, the young girl. Rena kind of like introduced me to the other people, not other people, but just more people in the movement. So then when I started seeing these guys, Andy there was this San Diego Comic-Con chat room. I think you may have been in there also. And Eric and everybody else.
Yeah, I was in the first one.
Right,
and then,
right.
Then they started to, organize much better. And they said the lesser the people, the better.
Right, correct. But then, so that's when I started meeting more people in that room. But then I started seeing like some people, it was always an argument, even with Eric or whatever, Nerd Queens and Eric and me and Eric and all this other shit. But it wasn't to like an argument as
it wasn't hostile.
Right, it wasn't hostile, right. So then it was still an argument, or it was still like debates that we can get past and still tweet. Okay, that's all good.
Yeah, civil disagreement, but we were civil with each other.
Right, and we were still productive, right? But I started kind of understanding like the Hamad's team. I started understanding that crew. And they're really not a team. They're just people who all kind of relate to each other. Like Ramesh is a cool guy. Ramesh just doesn't want any beef. He doesn't talk any shit. He doesn't do anything like that.
Yeah.
So
he's awesome. He's so talented.
Right. So like people like Koj or like Hamad, they will gravitate to people like Ramesh. You see what I'm saying? It just happens to be that they're foreigners. It doesn't mean anything, negative against Americans. They just relate to each other. So when they started producing, it was beautiful. The bus stop, the flyover, all of this shit was just beautiful for what they were doing, but they pretty much flew too close to the sun, and in my opinion. So someone wanted to remove them. and they made a campaign to remove them. So when they made the campaign to remove them, we all got caught in the middle because we were friends with Hamad and them.
Yeah, we all knew
Right,
each other.
right. We all knew each other. So now the movement gets caught in the middle of this civil war, but one side really is not plotting against them. One side is really just plotting to make the movement better. One other side is plotting to get these guys out of the way. So now,
Yeah, because now it's more about being the face of the movement rather than the movement itself.
correct. But you never see Hamad do tweets to say, "Yo, I was a big part of Times Square."
No, he's a classy dude.
Right,
He's a classy dude.
right. People don't even know how much money he's donated to this shit.
Oh no! I saw his donations while I was donating. Man,
Right.
He's got the money.
Correct.
He got the loan. I was telling him to buy Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I'm telling him to buy Go Deep as well.
Invest.
Invest. But what I'm saying is, those guys, they should be embraced. We should like Hamad and Will and Jeff. We shouldn't pick on them.
Yeah.
We shouldn't pick on them just because they're doing something that Zack Snyder shared in the soccer game. That shouldn't be
Right.
that's not an offense. That's a great thing because they're telling me that soccer game was equivalent to an NFL playoff game in America or a kind of like a Super Bowl game or something like that. So we're like, damn, if it was that big, Zach noticed it. My friend from Panama hit me up and he was like, oh shit, y'all boys are killing it because he saw it.
Yeah, even my friends who aren't, into DC, they were like, "Hey, man, we were watching the soccer game and we saw your thing."
Right.
And I'm like, "Hey, yeah, exactly."
Right. But this is a testament to those guys' ideas. That was a great freaking idea. They should not be punished for Zach sharing a great release the Snyder Cut movement idea. That was a great idea, right? So now,
Do you know, Mr. West? Do you know what's ironic? Sorry,
No.
it's funny. It's like the TPZ doesn't realize that no matter how much Zoom or how much chat they do with Zach, he's not going to invite them over for Christmas. Like, that's not how this thing works.
I don't know. I know Fab is pretty cool with Zach. So if I see Fab at Christmas dinner with Zach, I wouldn't, it wouldn't bat an eye. I wouldn't doubt it.
No,
But
Zach can do whatever he wants. He can
Right.
hang out with whoever he
Right,
wants.
right, correct.
In fact, I want him on Go Deep. But,
yeah.
yeah, as you were saying,
But
it's people with great ideas. Go on.
Right. So there's a crew. We call them the Lakers or whatever. They have great ideas and they have a lot of money to implement those ideas. And they were starting to get noticed by Zach. Them starting to get noticed by Zach is what blew this whole thing up. Zach shared that soccer game and people got in their feelings, right? People really got fucked up and they were mad at the Lakers for
Yeah, that was odd.
Right,
Why
but-
they were dissing the whole, soccer game ad.
Right.
That was so stupid.
But they were making it a shallow diss. They were like, oh, Zack Snyder's name should be in this or something. But
Yeah, coming up with excuses. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was Zack Snyder shared something from the Lakers. And the whole movement knew that the Lakers probably got the best ideas. The whole movement knows Ronaldo or Will, with the connections of Hamad and Jeff and whatever, those guys got something good. And those guys were kind of taken out. And they did it, and it was happening under our nose. It was like anybody friends with Ronaldo is in trouble. Even Rena, they jumped on Rena. Like, I hate to say it, but Rena is like the cutest, coolest, nicest girl on the planet. But she got kind of shot at because she's friends with Ronaldo too. That's when you know this is like some anti-life shit. This is deeper than Jeff Johns, and this is deeper than all of this shit. This is some real people got something fucked up in their mind. When you
This is people stroking their egos, Mr. West. Nothing else.
Oh man. I wish hey man. I just wish we can fix it. But I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of good shit coming with that release of Snyder Cut. Got all those roundtables, and Eric is in one of
Mm-hmm.
them. You know,
Yeah. I
everybody's
think
coming
that will be
together.
very good. Yeah,
Right,
with the
right,
round
right,
tables that are coming.
right. I think we got a lot of shit coming good, and I I think this is just like a
Hell,
birthing
Mr. West,
point.
if you can get me on one of them, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll ask the account. I got one with Mindscab and Koj, I think. And
Oh, my man Koji, he's one crazy SOB, man.
yeah, I like Koj. Koj is cool, but
Oh, Koji is awesome.
yeah,
Koji is awesome.
Koj is real
What
cool.
happened to Brian? Brian Kume?
He's back. He's on Twitter now. It's his name is Seven Swords Snyder or something like that. But just type in seven and you'll see him. That's Brian King.
Oh, all right. Because yeah, I had his old account, so I was wondering, well, where did Brian go? And I have not seen him tweet for a while, so I was
Yeah.
wondering what happened.
Nah, he
Because
has.
Brian is also a cool dude.
Yeah, Brian is real cool. I think Brian my closest friend out of everybody in the movement. But me and Brian kind of see things different. So we talk the most because we kind of we're both on this conspiracy shit, this rabbit hole shit.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much. But yeah, what we were doing is just the small. I think it's the people that's being picked on. What you're witnessing is those guys saying they had enough, and I think they were just waiting on someone to say it. So when we said it, now everyone's like, yeah, dog, I witnessed this too. I was involved in this too. They did it to me too. Everyone coming out of the woodworks and saying it, but I think everyone was scared to say it. You know, so when I did it on Go Deep 159, it kind of showed people that, damn, you don't have to be scared. Because, you know, TPZ is close with Zach, so that does intimidate people. You know, they're like, damn, I don't know if I should call these guys out because they're going to tell Zach something about me and, you know, then Zach's not going to like me anymore. Some shit like that. People don't want to, people were just like, just hesitant to speak their mind, but they hated getting bullied, so they just go in these chat rooms and talk about it. And they're like, damn, you know, fuck these, you know, blah, 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 blah. So it was creating from the inside, like a virus from the inside of a body. It was dying, and nobody would speak on that we had a virus. Everyone would just be like, oh, hey, another 50,000 tweets here, another, you know, Zoom meeting here, and, you know, shit like that. But nobody would say, yo, we're kind of fucked up here, you know? So when I said it, trust me, a lot of people came to my DMs saying the same thing, but they were just scared to say it, you know? And that's where we're at right now.
Man, you know, Abdul talks really aggressively, you know, and, you know, calls people out, and, you know, he's a very aggressive dude.
Right.
So this is pretty suspicious to me that of all the people, like, you know, everybody in the TPC, someone or the, whether it's McD or, you know, everybody else, whether it's the Nerd Queens, they come out and they actually, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they engage in the conversation, whether it's negative or whatever.
Right.
Abdul is the only dude who's staying behind the scenes.
Oh, there's
And
more.
that's what makes me think, you know, makes me feel suspicious.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You're the only one whose name is being dragged up the most.
Right.
And you're playing the victim, and you're staying behind the scenes like a puppet master
Right.
who's orchestrating the whole thing.
Right.
And every time I keep telling people, even from both sides, you know, the Lakers and the Chicago Bulls,
Right.
you know, it's not about who's the face of the NBA. It's about the NBA. Let's get our shit together.
Right.
We're
Right.
too close to fall apart.
Right.
And, you know, like, my point of view, I've said it before, like, you know, I'm pro boycott. So,
Right.
you know, you love DC. I respect your love. Go do it. But at the same time, please understand that if you're also going to buy a ticket, support the current Warner Brothers, and also create this, you know, civil war within the movement, you are throwing us back to 2016.
Right.
2017, actually.
Right.
When the movement was, you know, so far behind.
And then if you look at those guys' tweets from 2017, they were praising Jeff Johns, just to be honest.
Yeah. So it's suspicious. It's all suspicious. Like, you know, it's like, you know, how we talk about, you know, the Watchmen series. You know, we talk about, the Illuminati,
Right.
and the Freemasons and
Right.
everything, Skull and Bones and all that
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
It's like, you know, you want to be a niche clique or a niche clique within a movement, and run it, and then at the end of the day, when we do achieve what we achieve, you want to come out and say, oh, this all worked out because we were with Zach, so Zach should, like, give us like pins or something saying, yeah, we made it,
Right.
or some bullshit,
Correct.
recognition that these people are imagining that will happen.
Right.
But it's not. That's just stupid thinking. That children think like that.
Right.
Actually, no. Taking Kimura as an example, children don't think like that. They're smarter.
Thank you, man. Thank you. But it is
No.
you were right, man. It's a lot of like childish shit because, man, I swear it could have been done before this year even started. This shit could have been over, bro. I swear. This is the only reason we're talking about it now, because it's not over with yet. So it's like like a lot of people wanted to stay out of it so it can kind of fix itself, right? But we were hoping, like, gentlemen, fix it. We were hoping that happened. So we were hoping, like, and that's like the problem. That's the problem. I say this to this day. If Fab and Ronaldo worked together, it would have worked, right? It would have worked because those are two business-minded people, and they're civil
It
enough.
will still work if they can all come together. That's it.
Right, right. I mean, I hope, but I don't know if it, like you just said, Illuminati and all that shit. I think that's closer to where it is. I think this is more, and I always thought the bickering towards Zach was orchestrated. So when it's like orchestrated, that's like a real conspiracy, because conspiracy is just, people who conspire is just people who talk about planning something or doing something. They're conspiring. So I think the real so the conspiracy has been going on, right? So when Zach kind of gets close to the sunlight too, and he kind of looks like he's about to be vindicated, that conspiracy popped his head back up. The same conspiracy that got him out of Justice League, I think is the same conspiracy that we're dealing with. I think it's all the same, and that is the way you know if the conspiracies are together is, do their agendas match up? Do their agendas match? And when I started seeing Dave the Film Junkie, talk pro Shazam, I knew, anybody who gives promo to Shazam probably is getting Jeff Johns money or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's when you know. There's more than what we think it is. There's more than meets the eye. So we're regular people. Me, you, a lot of people, we're all regular people. But then there's people parading in between us with burner accounts, fake names, or fake lives. That's really not regular people. But they're still here to prevent Zach from seeing the sun. So the best way to do that is from the inside. It's always a Trojan horse. You can't beat the Spartans face to face. You can't beat the Parademons. You can't beat Exiles, TPZ, all of this. You can't.
Just like in 300, how they were caught off because the guy showed them the secret path.
Correct.
To catch the flank them.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. You get my point.
We're at the hot gates and somebody is showing them the back door to flank us.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So how did they flank us was go behind everyone's back and start spreading lies about our leadership, So when you spread lies about our leadership, you're either trying to take out our leadership or you're trying to take out the whole movement. But either or, it was wrong. You can't take out our leadership and you can't take out the movement. But now we're trying to talk within each other to figure out what was really going on, because now this is all a shock to everyone, and now everyone's like, oh shit, that's what happened. So now people are allowed to talk about that and feel like, what really went on, what really happened. But I'm telling, from my perspective, because this is my podcast, so if you want to hear me talk and you click my link, You want to hear my perspective. This is my perspective. So anybody mad at that, they either wasn't.
That's your problem.
Right,
Man.
that's your problem.
You're just talking your point of view. If you don't like what he's saying, close it. Go watch something else. Go watch Dave.
Right, correct. So that's where we're at, man. And that everything we said since 159 has been the truth, and there's a lot of all of this shit has been each one of our perspective, but nobody has lied yet. Everyone has said their own perspective dealing with this certain guy or this certain crew. And I'm gonna put it out there also.
Right.
TPZ is not all bad. I know Darren Benson seems cool as hell. I thought Dexter Washington was cool as hell. I thought Fab was cool as hell. And even I heard one time Nerd Queens was talking some shit about me. I still sent them a bottle of champagne. I don't give a shit. This shit is not that serious. But when you fucking continue to be a slime ball, why is nobody like? Somebody has to say, "Yo, chill."
Somebody's gonna call you out.
Right.
Like
correct,
if you're a repeat offender, somebody's gonna call you out.
Correct, and that's where we are. That's just where we are. And if people get mad at that, oh well, I don't care.
Okay, Mr. West, my question to you is, what do you think is the solution? What is your point of view in terms of solving this?
Oh, I tell everybody all the time, it's gonna happen naturally. This is natural. It's happening. We're solving it. It just hurts at the moment because it's like a birth pain. When you're giving birth, it hurts, But we're giving birth to something better. So then that birth is gonna come out. Eric is now cool with us, or not. I wouldn't say cool with us, but he's doing the release of Snyder Cut shit. So everyone doing that, those round tables are now gonna have, we're gonna have to start communicating with each other again, and that's gonna bring a new life. Some people are gonna say, "Yo, man, I'm sorry, I didn't know y'all was going through that." Some people are gonna say, "Yo, I'm sorry, I didn't know y'all was going through that." But it's gonna happen naturally, regardless. The cream rises to the top. All we have to do is just continue doing good shit. That's it. If we continue doing good shit, the movement will notice that. But if every time we try to air up our tire to do some good shit, someone comes behind us and pop our tire, we have to talk about that, because if not, we're just gonna keep getting our tire popped. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And this happened. What's his name? Miguel. He kind of told me that because we did a podcast right before Miguel. I did 2 of them yesterday. So I did one with my black friends, and they were Corbin.
I saw that. It was the 163, I think.
Right, correct. Right before. And I was just over it. I was like, man, fuck them. I don't even give a fuck. But when Miguel talked to me, he was like, yo, if we don't address a problem, we're as good as the problem, because we're just letting it persist, So if we don't address this shit, we're letting it persist.
If we don't address it, it's going to encroach even worse.
Right, correct. So I was like, yo, Miguel, you're right. And on top of that, last week is when I talked to Miguel. When after 159, he texted me and he was like, yo, I've been through the same shit you've been through. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
So then
he's like, I got some shit to tell you.
Right. So he was like, yo, I got some shit to say. And it matches your shit. So and what it was, he was like, I know y'all are telling the truth because we didn't coordinate this, So I was like, all right, come on. But he works at the airport, so he said his schedule is only on the weekends. But by the weekend, I was already over it. But I've already promised him that we can do a podcast. So when he said it, his podcast was so dope because his characteristics are like something that I like or I can relate to, because nobody likes to be lied to. Nobody likes to be manipulated. Nobody likes to be trampled on. And nobody likes to be pushed to the side and disrespected. Because when you lie to someone like that, you're disrespecting them. You don't respect him enough to tell him the truth. So you lie to him and try to manipulate him into believing you're a better person than you are. So when he said that shit, when he put it out, I was like, yo, fuck it. He's right. We can't sit back and let people continue to stab us in the back and we never say nothing about it, because until you address the bully is gonna continue to hit you until
bullying you. Yeah.
Right. So and that's just where we are. So I knew I was supposed to get you on a round tables, but then I saw you this morning, and I was just like, yo, let's podcast because I skipped over you, and it wasn't nothing against you over the last like 4 or 5.
No. I'm cool with you, Mr.
Right.
West. I know how busy you are taking care of the kids and everything, and you have so much on your plate.
Yeah, no, they're like those guys that's on my podcast. They're in chat rooms with me, so they know, yo, I want to get on, and I want to get on the podcast. So I'll put a link and say, yo, whoever wants to get on, this is what we're talking about.
Come on in.
And you see, during 159, it was like 7 people joined because so many people wanted to say what they had to say. We have been silencing people crying out for help.
Yeah, we're just silently observing the whole bullshit.
Right. And these guys are crying out for help. These guys aren't really wanting to talk shit. These guys are trying to get their movement back. They're crying out for help. And if we don't listen to the people crying out for help, we're not any better than the bad guys. So fuck it. I'm going to do it. This is my podcast. But I think the solution is we just got to keep doing work because, yo, I was a nobody. I'm still a nobody. But nobody knew anything about Go Deep. Nobody. But I just kept going. I kept continuing to do podcasts no matter what. No matter if we were going to war, no matter if we were beefing, I played that shit off like everything was all good and we did podcasts. But that's why people even want to talk to me because my consistency. But all I'm saying is that's all we need to do. I've seen it work. I've seen it work. And I've gotten Zach Crack. I got a lot of Zach Crack, but it's only because I'm consistently putting out podcasts. So I want to throw something by you right now. I think these boys kind of talking about doing some Snyder Cut music, and I want to help them. I know JD is doing it. I know Corbin wants to do it. I'm going to help them.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think we can maybe get Abu Nas because he can rap his ass off, and we can throw Yeah, we can throw you some instrumentals, and you go over the top of them with your guitar. We can put out like a 5. We can put out like a 5.
Mr. West.
Yeah.
You're pulling at my heartstrings, man.
No, I'm telling you, we can do work. We just gotta find our passion and amplify it, just like your amplifier for your guitar. We amplify it.
Oh, I'm honored, Mr. West.
Yeah,
I'm honored.
We'll blow everything away. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring you in our chat room, and then you can kind of see, you can kind of talk. But I trust you now. At the beginning, and when we got in our shit, I didn't bring you in the chat room because I didn't think I thought you were gonna be on some anarchy shit, which they're not on. But we all understand if that's what you're on. Hey, we can agree to disagree. So
well, it's anarchy. Well, I would like to represent my views. It's
right.
If you have seen the video I put up on YouTube, it's not really anarchy. It's more like, I work in the textile industry. I told you before. We make denim fabric for jeans that sells in America, England, all over the world.
Right.
So that's why my point of view is that you can't get our Snyderverse back and the original Slate back and Zach back while you're promoting and you're giving money to the new regime.
Right.
Who are silently pushing further and further away. No matter how much you sugarcoat it, Aquaman was the last semblance of connection to BVS.
Right.
They are not saying anything. They're giving out news about bringing in what's his name? The guy who did the Star Wars. I forgot his name.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, who's gonna reboot the franchise, and even there are rumors hanging that the Twinkle Bat is gonna reboot the whole DCEU, like a soft reboot. And even Aquaman himself, Jason Momoa, said that the possibility of his Aquaman meeting up with the new cats is a no-no. Right. Because he's part of the old DCEU.
Right.
So I didn't watch. My point of view is, if you love this DC, watch DC, but don't buy the tickets, man. Right. You don't need to.
Right.
You can just wait for it, because when a movie does bad, it comes within a month. It comes out on DVD and streaming and all those other places.
Right.
Hell, Warner Brothers, with all their cheap tactics, they still have the Snake Jeff Johns inside.
Right.
And Patty Jenkins was flaunting, we saw how Patty Jenkins reacted when Gal Gadot was talking about the Snyder Cut.
Right.
You know that video? Everyone saw it.
Right.
Like, she's a traitor, in my opinion.
Right.
Everyone who stayed after Zack was kicked out, to me, is a traitor, personally.
Right.
Because, to me, personally, it's just my point of view, nothing against anyone who. And then there is that idiot on Twitter, Trevor, who pisses everybody off. You know Trevor, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Who would do anything to kiss Patty Jenkins' ass? Anyways, so the anarchy thing wasn't actually meant to create any dissent within the movement, but was more our point of view, or at least mine was, that listen, watch DC, but don't pay the tickets, because any money you're giving to these idiots, they're gonna use that as an excuse to use the bloggers to say, oh, it's the white males who are not coming to the movies.
Right.
They're gonna make it all political and still push on,
Right.
and not address the people who are saying, no, we are day one fans. We've been here since Man of Steel. We want to see the original. We want to see the story to finish.
Right.
We want to see Justice League 2 and 3.
Right.
We don't want to see the Trench movie, the spin-off, or the Amazonians TV series. We don't want to see, watered down version of Zack Snyder's, Justice League in the new animated movie and all that. Like they've stolen from Zack Snyder in Apocalypse War,
Right.
shot for shot.
Right.
And even like they were showing like blood and death, like one of the Robins, if you haven't seen it, the Robins, everyone dies basically in that movie.
Mm.
So when Zack was going in that direction, everyone's like, oh no, it's too dark.
Right.
We can't show it. The kids will cry. But you bloody hypocrites, you don't have any problem showing that in a kid's animated movie?
Right. Correct.
So to me personally, Mr. West, I know you support Zack, and I do not know, maybe Will Rollins, next time if he hears this, he can answer this question for me. I don't know how a producer makes money, because like you said, Zack and Deborah are producers in most of the movies that are coming out.
Right.
But it's like, no matter what we do, if we don't make a stand like the 300 did, Warner Brothers is going to keep on pushing. Like they are literally, it's like a tidal wave. They are washing over us, even though we're standing here and saying, no, we exist, listen to us.
Right.
Then you'll start making money like you used to.
Right.
Like even Chris Wong and everyone put up that estimation of how during Zack's era, how much money they made.
Right.
Even with the botched up job, the hack job that they did with Suicide Squad and BVS,
Right.
but still it made money. And Aquaman made money because, like I said, I've been saying it since day one with Aquaman. They duped us because everyone said, listen, let's go support Aquaman. We'll get the Snyder Cut in 1 year. We didn't.
Right.
But we did support Aquaman.
Right.
Did I enjoy that movie? No. Do I love Jason Momoa? Yes. Do I think James Wan is a traitor? Yes. But then again, it's all like, conspiracy, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And my point of view is plain and simple. Love DC. But if you want Zack Snyder back, you can't have both. It doesn't work like that. Not in life, not in business. So, it's like you can't have two suppliers supplying you the same product and expect your buyers to say that, okay, this fabric feels different even though you're buying from the same lot.
Right. Right. No, I get it. And I admit it. I can admit it on my show. I was wrong about you. I thought when you were saying anarchy, I really thought you were trying to tear the movement up like those guys. So I thought...
No, I've never.
Right,
if I came out like that, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. I apologize first because I see you, and me and you stayed in touch the whole time, even after our little incident. But you're still cool. So there was never any anarchy that came from you. So I was wrong about you, dog, and I admit that shit. And you're on my show, and you can still preach your anarchy message. I won't.
No, it's not anarchy. It's just saying I want Zack back, Mr. West, more than anything.
Yeah.
I haven't gone back to the movies. Justice League broke me, and The Last Jedi was the nail on the coffin. Like, my childhood is literally dead. Every day I wake up, everything I loved about pop culture is dying. And it really depresses me out that right now there's nothing in terms of pop culture that interests me. And I'm holding out for the Spawn movie. and the Venom sequel. But other than that, I have nothing to look forward to in terms of my passion, which is DC comics, music, and all that stuff.
Right.
And it just breaks my heart that after 30 years of being with these IPs and being passionate about them, and to see them being chopped down and watered down for a new generation who does not know any better, it just breaks my heart.
Right.
And especially when I think what they did to Zach with his daughter and everything, I get really hyper about it. I get really angry about it. It's like, how the hell can you, if somebody, no offense, if anyone in the movement, what are we doing now? Everyone in the movement who is saying something about this whole TPZ, that, listen, we were victims too. Right. Now they know how, at least they know a little bit how Zach felt. Right. That, he was being conspired against.
Right.
So correct. When I think about that, when I internalize that pain, I get really frustrated. I get really pissed off. That's why, I can admit it. I'm man enough to admit it, that when Reeves announced Twinkle Bat, I sent out a tweet that I wish, he'd kill himself. And then one of the parademons, called me out, like, listen, dude, you cannot stand for Zach and also write tweets like that. And then, I apologized. I deleted the tweet and I said, yeah, you're right. It's my bad. Right. And I even came on to Vero and I, wrote a tweet or a post on Vero saying, listen, if anybody who knows me knows that I have, love for the movement, I have love for Zach, but it's sometimes, the some of the news that really pisses me off.
Right.
So, Ben Affleck is the greatest Batman ever. Right. And I want him back. Even if it's just for a Justice League, even if we don't get his solo movie, right. I want him back to finish working with, and he said it, that he'll do anything, whatever it needs, whatever Zach needs. Right. Because he has such a good relationship. Right. Henry Cavill, I'm disappointed in him, but I still love him. It's just that The Rock got his claws into Henry. And you know what a commercial guy The Rock is. I even love The Rock. Right. But his movies are boring. He's like his own MCU. The Rock is like his own brand of MCU. So his movies, his earlier movies were pretty good. Right. Where you can see him act. Now all he does is just show off his body and punch someone. So, and with The Rock's ex-wife, controlling Henry, right? That's why he didn't tweet out. And I don't know what the relationship is with him and Zach, but the amount of love that Zach shows for him, I know that when push comes to shove, when the Snyder Cut comes out and it makes as much buzz as it should, they'll get Henry back. We'll get our Justice League back. Right. But it all depends on getting our movie. Right. That's why I keep telling people, dude, Warner Brothers deserves it for what they did. And they're still not acknowledging us. Right. Screw that. They're not even acknowledging Zach. They're not apologizing to him. Right. Right. James Gunn got his job back. Marvel, and I tell people, I don't watch the Marvel movies. And if I do, it's because I'm hanging out with my friends who love it. Right. But I respect Marvel because they listen to their fans, right? Regardless of the opposition, right? As Kathleen Kennedy killed Star Wars. They didn't listen to the fans, right? And Star Wars is dead, right? And I don't want DCU to die. Don't invite me to a full course meal by a prominent chef like Gordon Ramsay, right? And then give me the starter and say, okay, we're done. You can f off now because we're not giving you the entree and the dessert. Right. And I'm like, what? I paid a $5,000 ticket to come and watch this. What the hell? Right. So I feel like I'm swindled. I'm angry. I'm depressed. I use video games and music to let my frustrations out. Right. But it just hurts, Mr. West. It just hurts that every day any news from Warner Brothers is moving further away from the Snyderverse. And people are like, no. Just because you're boycotting, you're toxic. I'm like, no, I'm a consumer. I know what I want. Right. And I don't want the shallow products that they're throwing to me, which are still being produced because you are encouraging them. Right. So I keep telling people, instead of buying a ticket, spend that ticket money on AFSP. That's more pro-Zach than anything. Right. Like, people call themselves Team, TPZ and all the monikers that they're giving each other or themselves. I don't care. You want to be Team Pro-Zach? Really? Instead of buying a Warner Brothers ticket, go and spend that money on AFSP. Right. That shows more that you care about Zack Snyder and everything. And if you want to keep your DC in a standard. So that's about it. I mean, come on, even the Supergirl, even the Harley Quinn gag that they did, people are laughing.
Right.
But to me, that's like an underhanded slap. Like, really? That's how you see us?
Right.
As, middle-aged men sitting in our mother's, what do you
Basement.
call it? Basement
Basement.
and bitching about things?
Yeah.
We're not. We're real people.
Yeah,
We live lives. We are part of society. We all have our scars that united us in common in our each way.
Right.
But we're still walking.
Right.
We took the punches. We're taking the punches every day.
Right.
Mr. West, you're a black man in America. I can't even imagine how your life is. But you're still moving on. You're not complaining about it. You're not playing a victim.
Right. Correct. Correct.
You're dealing with the system.
Right.
I come from a Muslim background.
Right.
So literally half the world is for no reason is biased against me.
Right.
I don't get depressed about it. I try to show people with my actions that what kind of a person I am.
Right. Correct.
So
and you did that. You did that with me because when I was seeing the anarchy shit, I wasn't feeling it, and but over time, with your actions, you did show me you were a cool dude. So I can admit when I was
I'm glad
wrong.
I got through, and I hope to keep myself to a standard that I can get the movie. I
Right.
want my childhood. I mean, I want my DC back.
Right.
This is just heartbreaking.
Right.
And Zack Snyder, he's so creative. He's just like Stanley Kubrick and everyone. You're right. There's a conspiracy because
Right.
Hollywood serves the elite.
Right.
And every time somebody wakes the masses up, like I even believe that I don't know. I mean, I'm afraid to say this, but again, I apologize if I piss anyone off. But I think with Autumn Snyder, there could be people. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it seems like a cover up. Anyways, so the powers that be, they treat us as bloody like lab rats. So
Right.
they don't care with this coronavirus thing and everything that's going on.
Right.
So Zach is just another creative, humble person who made something that made people question themselves and the system.
Right.
And shit happened.
Right.
They're like, no. He's waking people up. His narration is going against our system, against our plan, against our agenda.
Right. Correct.
Like Bob Iger, MCU, all of them. It's so obvious that they're part of the Illuminati.
Right. Right.
The whole elite club.
Right.
The
right.
Disney club.
Right. Correct.
Club 44 or 33, whichever
33.
one in the Disney world and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So Zach was playing. He wasn't playing any game. He was just waking people up.
Right.
Subliminally.
Right.
And we did. I knew Trump was gonna win when I saw BVS.
Right.
It's a funny thing. The first thing I told my dad when I came home after watching BVS, he's like, "What did you think of the movie?" I said, "Trump's gonna win." Anyways, again, I don't want people to take that in a negative way and say, "Oh, BVS is a movie that supports Trump." No, I'm just saying that Zach took everything into account and showed that in pop culture, the greatest immigrant, from
Right.
another planet, and the whole country and the whole world was against him.
Right. Correct.
It's all there. It's like they wanted the wall on Superman.
Right. Right.
So,
Correct.
It's all that stuff. So, Mr. West, I see you, you lead by an example, and I try to do the same.
Thank you.
I bought the Zack Snyder hoodie, but then the COVID came, so I don't know whether I'll get the delivery or not. I have the Snyder, the Zack Snyder Acquitted shirt. I have like 3 of them or 4 of them that I bought from Ink to the People.
Right.
So I'm doing my best, and I give money whenever I can because I'm from Bangladesh, and the currency exchange is like fucked up.
You're doing
But
a
I
great
support
job.
the movement, even with $5 or $10. I try my best to support AFSP, and every time we do something big.
You're doing a great job, man.
Yeah, so that's why I told people that even if it's $1, even if it's a cent, even if it's a hashtag, we're all united.
Mm-hmm.
There does not need to be a clique. There does not need to be like civil a civil war within the movement when our aim is just to get Zach back,
Right.
get our DCU back.
Right.
So it just and then what else do I say? It's like I'm just going around in circles because it's just so emotional for me. So yeah, that's about it. But yes, coming back to the music, I would love to do something with everyone involved, and it would be an honor for me. Yes.
All right, I'll bring you in the room after we get out of here. And I want you also, we got to go make this shit trending for Will, you know? Let's try to get the Mother's Box Day up.
Yeah, I already tweeted and I also called out everyone. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, I appreciate the interview, dog. I'm gonna go see my mom first, and then I'll come back and I'll edit it up, and we can have something
All
for
right.
later.
Well, give my regards to Kimura and the boys.
Yeah.
I hope you are staying safe, Mr. West.
Thank you.
Because shit in America has the highest victims now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have to be careful.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone who's listening to the podcast stays safe. Shout out to Will. Shout out to Koj. Shout out to Corbin. Shout out to Gio. Shout out to my man George Saya. It was his birthday, I think, yesterday.
Yeah,
So
birthday
shout out
today.
to everyone in the movement, even the TPZ, even Chris, even Fiona, Ramesh, everyone. Shout out to everyone.
Right.
It's all love. It's all for Zach.
Perfect. I love it. So I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna start editing, and then I will. I'll edit this after I come back. I'll put it out today. I don't know what time it is over there, but you might have it tomorrow morning.
All right.
All right,
All right.
homie.
God bless you, Mr. West.
Yes, sir. You too. Bless you, man.
This is a day for truth, as it was said.
Hell yeah, dog. Well, I'll holler at you later, dog.
All right. Take care, brother. Okay, take care.
You too, man. And thank you for coming on the show. I'm gonna bring you in the chat room also.
All right. Thank you. Go deep.
Go deep. Peace.
This has many names: gang stalking, mob stalking, community stalking. You're in the middle of this ridiculous, irrational impossibility that is real and is happening.
First, The Guardian revealed the National Security Agency is collecting telephone records of millions of Verizon customers.
You can surveil someone through their phones, through their, certainly through their television sets.
The last year and a half, he's been systematically followed by a group of people.
Does the FBI use drones for surveillance on U.S. soil? Yes.
New Associated Press investigation shows that the Bureau has its own little Air Force with scores of planes flying over American cities, recording video and tracking cell phone conversations.
He has a man outside of his house in a hood, like basically like a hood. It looks,
Well, this almost sounds like gang stalking or something. Have you heard of that?
Many of the things that victims of gang stalking describe are also symptoms of mental disorders.
We're not having a group hallucination. This is actually something that's happening.
I grew up with my parents. My mother was a medical doctor. My father was a former rocket scientist turned teacher. I grew up with a desire to be a graphic artist. And then I didn't like school very much, so I joined the Navy. And I did that for a couple of years. Didn't like that too much, so I came back to LA and basically lived in Los Angeles as a homeless man, just living on the street. I had my truck with a shell, and I worked as a handyman or construction jobs that I would get. The gang stalking experience started for me when I noticed these black SUVs and other police vehicles driving slowly along the street, but they never came up to me or said anything. And then I had 7 or 8 helicopters hovering directly over my apartment, and then it goes, and it keeps happening, and it begins to dawn on me that something is going on, and this continued on. Here comes the gang stalking helicopter. Here he comes. It's confusing to humans trying to understand gang stalking. Why would they do this to me? Why would they do these weird, petty little things that, may even just irritate me at some moment? If you were to ask me what gang stalking is, it's a way to slowly kill people using their own decisions. See, we're getting one of our friends here. I don't know if you can hear that on the audio, but we're getting a buzz right now. And on certain topics that I'll bring up, I'll get buzzed.
My understanding of gang stalking is that a number of people have found each other on the internet who believe that they are being targeted for harm. So there's this concept of hypervigilance, right? Which is that your threat assessment centers get locked into a position that is too high. They're warning you all the time about things not necessarily untrue, but that you would feel better not worrying about. Being of the opinion that you had to constantly look around and figure out what might be threatening to you, or else your life would be at stake, would lead to you not just seeing connections that weren't there, but erring on the side of safety when you see a connection that might or might not be there.
I'm a self-taught makeup artist, and depending on the list that you look at, probably one of the top 10 makeup artists in the world. I think that just my life experience, me being around famous people all the time, what paparazzi photographers do to them, what normal people do to them if they go out in public, there'll be a gang-like reaction. This is essentially the same thing, except it's not, I didn't ask for it. In my experience, it started over a year ago. I had rented a space in Hawthorne, California, and people warned me that as a gay man, you know, it was maybe brave of me to rent this space. I never think about things like that. I didn't know what it was called. Like I said, I just thought that it was bullying. I just thought that it was, you know, people that were just like, get the faggot out of the neighborhood or whatever. When 20 or 30 cars are hazing you on the freeway, behind you, in front of you, on both sides of you, completely controlling how fast you go, whether you exit, whatever you do, this is something bigger than that. I started spray painting their cars on the freeway. I pepper sprayed them. At this time, it was trying to get them to call the police. That's what I was trying to do. I had no other way, I felt like, other than to find out, are these people together? Are they working in this one collective group for the same reason?
What they'll do to a particular person in order to stress them out is they'll hit them with the same thing over and over and over again. I would get Los Angeles Police Department vehicles lighting up their sirens and not pulling me over, but zooming around me, almost like a continual tactic. This happened so much that I was inspired to buy a dash camera.
I believe it was the very next day, and it was the first time I experienced what I know now is called street theater. And I watched the parking lot literally fill up with cars. And, you know, heterosexual couples would hold hands and like stroll through the back of the parking lot like they were on some 1950s sitcom. People that are trying to look incredibly normal look incredibly abnormal because they're acting. It's not authentic. That was when I first started thinking, it's all of them against me. This is clearly a collective, organized, whatever is happening.
If a conspiracy is a bunch of people working together to do something that they don't want publicized, then it would be absolutely wrong to say that the world is not filled with conspiracies. The question is, what does it do for you to spend a lot of time thinking and feeling about the conspiracies that you believe exist?
Government has to know about it. How can this can't be like some rogue group operating, you know, some shadowed thing and nobody knows about it.
I go to the Van Nuys Police Department, I walk in, I say, this is my ID, this is my name. Are you following me or do you have any knowledge of me being followed? Is there a reason for you to be followed, sir? No, there's not, but people are. Who's following you? Well, I don't know who it is. Well, what are they driving? They're driving cars with dealer tags that you can't trace. Well, sir, there are a lot of dealers here. There are a lot of dealer tags. How do you know that they're following you? Very quickly, you see how crazy you sound. I've never been arrested. I've never had a DUI. Anything whatsoever. Whoever is in charge, which is so weird, is spinning this web about what a deviant, immoral, less than a human being you are. That's the only thing that I can think of that would get that many people in this collective effort to get rid of you.
This happens to you enough, believe me, you will feel stress. You will get that feeling of helplessness. This is not just like a gang of random people just doing this for, you know, like randomly or without a plan. This is procedural.
The psychiatric definitions of delusion tend to focus on really two principles. One is that the ideas that you have are not very vulnerable to evidence. The other is that people in your culture don't share your beliefs. The question becomes, if you can find 10,000 people on the internet who believe the same thing as you, is it a delusion? Is it bizarre? Quite possibly not. If everybody believes this stuff, how is it in any way insane?
People just would not believe the suffering that people in this community endure every single day.
I've lost just about all of my friends. They're afraid to talk to me. They think it's very effective. They think I'm crazy.
My family doesn't know anything about it. I don't say a word to them. I don't know if my son knows, and I don't want anything to happen to him.
Really, the most important thing that we can do for victims is to connect them with others who understand what they're experiencing, because no one else will. And isolation is really a key weapon that these perpetrators use to bring a person down to the ground, basically.
If you go to see a psychiatrist, let's say it's the first time you're meeting a psychiatrist, and you say, I'm under police surveillance, then the psychiatrist will write you off as suffering paranoid schizophrenia, and then he will give you medication. So we must assume that this is what American society believes, that all these government agencies, which normally watch over people, don't actually watch people at all. If anybody thinks that they are being watched by this government agency, then they must be crazy. It cannot possibly be true.
There really is no help at the moment officially to assist targeted individuals. They can't go to the police, they can't go to the FBI, they can't go to Congress. There is nowhere that they can go. We are having to create the issue and also the solution.
Why isn't our nation listening? This could be them. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the nation is under mass mind control.
Given that the world is filled with groups of people operating in secret or trying to divorce us from our money or our power or whatever they want from us, one thing that might be helpful to ask from a psychiatric point of view is, what's wrong with the rest of us? So why am I so relaxed? What's wrong with me that I don't feel I'm being gang stalked? And is it that I'm living in the matrix where in order to feel more comfortable, I have decided to simply ignore a lot of the evils in the world and a lot of the potential threats to me?
Okay, so what we're seeing here is this scene where the Keanu Reeves character climbs out of the battery vat chamber. You can't see, precisely what it is because of that loss of focus, but you can definitely see that something is abnormal. As you look into it, I drew a picture of what the shapes of those claws are. It looks like a bird talon or a reptile talon. I started searching on conspiracy-type movies, UFO movies, weird movies on YouTube. I came across the reptilian shapeshifter subject. What I can confirm is that there are apparently non-humans, apparently some of them are extraterrestrial, and apparently they have some kind of evil grip on our world.
Richard Bruce here, and if you haven't seen my channel before, this is gang stalking for reptilian shapeshifter movie uploads to YouTube.
When I uploaded my study, within 15 minutes, helicopters kept zooming over my apartment like there was a drug bust in my building. And then it didn't take me long. I think it popped into my mind pretty quick. Oh my God, is this from what I uploaded to YouTube? Because the whole thing was so freaky at first. Like when you're seeing these non-human features, you're like, oh my God, what is this? What could possibly be going on?
They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind. At least the ones that are here.
Or is it carnivorous, they eat humans?
Yes.
When I told my family about this, it's almost like I get like a non sequitur reply from a computer. It's like they just kind of look at me like I'm not even hearing this, and I'm really not interested in that. My father, the rocket scientist, the doctorates in mathematics, when I tell him anything about this, one of the main points of discrediting me is saying that you just have to be negative and dark about everything. You have to, because of your own dissatisfaction at being unemployed. I mean, that's a highly, it's an understandable point of view. It's like somebody who's disgruntled with life in general might flock to an idea, yeah, there's evil reptilians doing it all to us, and that's why I'm so miserable, or whatever,
Nobody wants to be called crazy. It's one of the worst things you can imagine. I don't think I or any psychiatrist would recommend that people are convinced that what they believe is not true. The more useful target would be, what pain are they feeling in their life?
At least if I can do anything, if I can achieve anything by exposing this issue to the general public, it could be that it takes away these criminals' right to destroy people's lives with this, because it's terrible what's happening to people. I mean, what kind of a country do we live in where you can't say certain things or do certain things without our own government using these subversive, underhanded tactics to drive you crazy?
You're in the middle of this ridiculous, irrational impossibility that is real and is happening and is stranger than fiction or anything that you can imagine. And it's just terrifying. Fuck, I don't want to start crying. It pisses you off. It frustrates you beyond anything that you can imagine. And it changes you.
We could see it from everything: the fluoride in the water, the chemtrails, the fake education system, the fake medical system. I mean, when are we going to wake up and stand up and fight? As the scripture says, how good is it for brethren to be together? Meaning, how good is it for people who truly trust each other and are friends to be together?